Hello folks, my name is Mark and this is UCD Videos, and right now we're looking at a Cassettevision, and this was made in by a company called Epoch in the early 80s, and it was released only in Japan, so this is one of those unreleased, you never saw this in the USA. Anyway, so Epoch, if you guys don't know, back in the day they used to make a lot of those like LCD, portable handheld video game type deals, sort of like Tiger Electronics, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they made some really good quality ones back in the day, and they actually had a couple of game consoles. So anyhow, so let's check out the box. You can see it's a Cassettevision and various pictures of the games, and you can kind of, by looking at the screenshots, it sort of looks like a maybe close to an Atari 2600 in quality, right? Here's our actual console, right? Pretty, the cartridge is like flying out of it, or I guess docking into it, I don't know. More Japanese stuff I can't read. You can see kind of the side. I always love how in Japan all the packaging on everything always has English words mixed in stuff, I don't know why. It's probably because of, the occupation, World War II or whatever. The other side, and you can take a look at the back of the box. Okay, here's what the back looks like. More games, more Japanese text, and kind of a sky view of the console. Pretty neat. The box is actually in really good shape. I've got a couple of some dings on the sides here and some wear along the edges, but considering how this thing came out, like when did this thing come out? Like 1982 or something, 1981, something like that. Seeing how it's like, geez, it's almost 30 years now. I mean, it's really not that bad. So, alright, let's take a look at the inside. Move that a little bit. Zoom out. No, out. Thank you. And we can close that off. Okay, thankfully there's no styrofoam, but I don't know if there was to begin with. This particular console is a little beat up. You can kind of tell. There's some marks on here. You can see here that, and I don't really think it's going to come off. Got a little bit of dust hanging out on the inside, so they could probably do to be cleaned off. Apparently, a lot of people smoke in Japan. I didn't even know this, but so a lot of the electronics you get, especially if you get used stuff, is going to have, smoke residue all over it. Which is, I used to smoke too, so not that I'm bitching, but still it's like, wish I never did. Okay, let's take a look at the actual console here. So, you can see the controllers are built in. Right. One of these makes the guy goes up and down, and one goes left and right. Okay, depending on what game you have. These are the actual little buttons, so the controls are kind of funky on this thing. From what I understand, this is sort of like the version, first they made Pong consoles, or Epoch, and then they made this thing, and here's where the cartridge goes, little door that opens, right, pretty neat. And then they actually had the Super Cassettevision after this, which actually looked a little bit closer, like say between a ColecoVision and Famicom in quality, but it actually had detachable joysticks and all that other crap. So, you can kind of forgive. I mean, for the time period that it came out with, nowadays, game consoles are designed with, $1 million budgets and scientists and shit and ergonomics and all that stuff. And back then, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. So that's why this thing has, controls inside of the console, which you would never see today in a million years. I like how all the buttons are labeled in English. Lever 1, push 2, 3, 4. Course, I guess this is like a level select, sort of like you select the version of the game that you're playing. Power switch, select auxiliary. I don't know what auxiliary does. This is where the actual cartridge goes in. I don't know if you can see in there, you know. And that's little spring-loaded doors. Not much going on in the back here. I'm not really sure what this is. Oh, this changes, okay. Channel 1, Channel 2. So, for those of you that don't know, in order to get a Japanese game system to work on an American TV, most of the time you have to change it to some funky channel, which in Japan is Channel 1, but we don't really have Channel 1, so most of the time it'll work if you change it to like Channel 96 or 98 or something. Usually just keep flipping around in the high 90s, you'll find it, you know. Alright, set that back. And pull that out here. Here is our AC adapter. And all of this stuff is in Japanese, but we have the nice American warning. I don't know what ID82 means. And we actually have some instructions, which is kind of nice, you know. And I mean, this particular example is not complete by any means, but whatever. Japanese instructions, how to hook shit up. Cool. Oh, put the plug in the light socket, huh? Oh wow, thanks for telling us these things. Actually, I also have this thing around there somewhere, in a box somewhere. I gotta pull it out, but it's the original, the TV game switch thingy. I think this is a warranty card of some kind. You know, looks like they actually filled it out. I have no idea what it says, but who knows. And this looks like instructions for something, one of the games maybe. Not really sure. And then here's kind of like a quick start guide to how to hook your game system up really fast, which is actually very nice. You know, pretty cool. So it's nice, you know, I've got all these things that still comes with it. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Stick that down in there. Okay, games for this thing. I have 3, and they're about the size of 2600 carts. They come in these plastic cassette tape type boxes, so this is Galaxian. Alright. This is Yokasu. It is a game, and basically you're that little yellow dude, you run back and forth and you chop down trees, and birds try to dump on you, and you have to dodge the birds, and based on some kind of myth or something, I don't know. I just saw them right on the internet. Pac Monster. Alright. Now it's a Pac-Man clone, so you can see here's the screens on the back. Basically, it's not really much of a maze, really. Okay, so these things open up, right? They're actually pretty nice. The case, you know, instructions fold out like that, and it's kind of like a card, you know. And the actual cartridge, it's kind of like a little bit fatter than a 2600 cartridge. These particular examples are actually pretty nice. You know, you can see the board down there. Pretty cool. So all in all, this I got a pretty good deal. So now, since something like this was not released in the United States, finding these types of imported consoles are not really easy. You know, of course eBay, but even on eBay, really. Good luck. You know, something like this comes up on eBay once in a blue moon. You know, actually the Super Cassettevision, from what I understand, is a lot more common. I see a lot of those on eBay more than this particular console. But even then, you'll see it come up and it'll be hundreds of dollars. You know, so I paid for this. God, what did I pay for this thing? 150, I think. You know, a little under 200 is what I paid for this in the games, which is, you know, about average. I mean, you know, if you think, I mean, even if they're rare in their native country, you know, then you getting one is not going to be that. It's not going to be cheap, you know. I actually got this from Yakumo over on the Assembler forums, and I think he runs a Sega Gaga domain or something like that. He's got his own YouTube channel that everybody should check out. Okay, folks. So anyway, we're going to check out Galaxian, which I don't think that this is actually like a licensed version. I don't know. I have no idea whether it is or not. But anyway, it doesn't really look like much like the Galaxian we're used to. So anyway, I'm going to start. And this particular game, if you'll notice, is controlled with these two buttons and this. This is the joystick. Okay, these things are like paddles. They don't have anything to do with this. So, alright, let's zoom in a little bit here. Alright. Okay, and I'm that little spaceship dude at the bottom. So this first level is basically these big blocky sort of cloud thingies. Maybe, I think they're probably asteroids or something. Flying saucers, maybe, I have no idea, but they're pretty simple. They don't shoot back. Then you get the second level here, and this is where the little blobs turn into, like, Galaxian style dive bombing ships, and they don't really shoot at you, but they sort of try to kamikaze you, and you can eat it real easy just like that. Okay. Then you get a third round. Alright, they're a little bit faster. Kind of neat, you can see the graphics are sort of 2600 quality, They're very clean though, something I noticed. I like those little explosions. I like the little fire on the end of the ship there, that's kind of cool. And then this level is, see, I'm at the bottom and I have to navigate through all these, and I thrust when I hit the button, then you have to dock with your mothership. Pretty cool, huh? I can pan this up just a little bit, zoom out just a little, so you can see the score. So, yeah, and then that's that, and that just pretty much, repeats. This is probably the best game that I have for this thing. I mean, I've only have 3 games, I don't really know much about them, but anyhow, pretty nifty. So let's take a look at another one. Turn this thing off. Okay, this is Pac Monster. That's the name of the game. And what this is, I'm the little Pac-Man ripoff dude, and this is extremely hard because there's no joystick on this thing. So what I'm doing is I'm going son of a... Okay, there's no joystick, right? So the buttons, the 2 buttons on the left make you go left and right, and the 2 buttons on the right make you go up and down. And, truth be told, if there were actually buttons on this thing, I mean, if there was an actual joystick on this thing, this game would be too easy. Alright. But, oh, son of a bitch. Anyway. So, yeah, but the fact that I'm pressing buttons that are not laid out in an up and down type manner makes this 20 times harder than it needs to be. But anyway, I think the point of the game here is you have to go over each little star thingy and change it to a certain color, right? Go up, thank you. And then you have to go over them again, and then that's where you actually eat them, And your 2 little monsters come at you, and wrong button. See, your 2 little monsters come at you, and you have to eat the power pellets, and that's basically Pac-Man. So, yeah, this is, right now I sense that people at home are not impressed, and honestly, I'm not really impressed either. I mean, I don't know, maybe the console can't really do better resolution than this, God damn it, go up! Up! Thank you! And, the fact that this is, like, ugly and nearly unplayable is like, hey, I got 200 of something. Up. Thank you. But, yeah, just these controls make this, like, 20 times more challenging than it really should be, but hey, alright. Go up, please. Thank you. Down. Let's see. Still not getting Come on, motherfucker. That's right. There we go. And that's the entire game. Pack Monster. Oh, it's not even really a maze, really, if you think about it, but it changed colors. So yeah, okay, that one's some fun shit. Okay, folks, time for our little summary. So anyway, that's the console, and you saw some gameplay. Well, would I recommend this console? No. It was, you know, the thing about it, I mean, it's neat, you know, the games are neat, but they're not good by any stretch of the imagination. It's a little overpriced, you know, not because it's rare, and because it's rare, you know, but it's even more rare because it was not released in this country, so that's the reason why it's expensive. See, that's the thing. It's like, you know, when it comes to game collecting, none of the stuff that's like rare is ever really that good, you know. The reason why it's rare is because nobody bought it, and 99% of the time, you know, you go, oh, this super duper awesome rare game, you know, it's a piece of junk, and it's like once in a while you find something like a Radiant Silver Gun or whatever, but most of the time it's like it's rare for a reason, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the story with this thing, you know. It's not the worst game system I've ever played. Controls are definitely awful. Shitty controls. But you know, graphics, not that, you know, they're very primitive, but not anything I haven't seen on the 2600 or you know, around that area. And the Galaxian game was actually kind of fun, if a bit simple. So I don't know, you know, if you see something like this, you know, if you know, obviously you don't buy something like this for you know, to play it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna hunt down games for, you know, the Cassettevision because they're awesome, super duper playing games. You know, it's a collector's piece, is what it is. You know, you buy something like this to fill out your collection so that your friends come over and they go, "What the hell is that?" And you go, "Oh, that's a Cassettevision from 1970, blah 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 blah," and then they get impressed at your awesome video game knowledge, and you get to feel cool. You know, that's really what these things are all about. You know, it's got nothing to do with like, you know, I have to get Pack Monster or whatever. So anyway, folks, there you go. That is the Epoch Cassettevision. Adios.